Horror story webcomics. I've always been skeptical of whether I could be scared of a webcomic or comic in general. I feel like descriptions and film scenes have always scared me more. But as I decided to test that today by reading and rating a few Webtoon comics based on their art style, which is more of a personal preference, their story quality, and the overall scariness of the comic. I'd also like to say that you should definitely check out the creators. I will have the name of the comic and the creator names up on the screen for each one, and that just watching this will not give you a full view of the comic, and you should check it out for yourself, even if I did not personally enjoy it. Heads up, there will be some spoilers ahead. I will put a warning before it, and a time skip to when the spoilers will be over. Webcomic number 1, Horong's Nightmare. The first episode I decided to read was episode 1, The Ghost in the School Stairwell. This name is pretty self-explanatory. It is about a girl who sees a ghost in the stairwell, who is the ghost of a girl who was, I think, pushed down the stairs. I absolutely adore how the comic moves around as you're looking through it. It looks very awesome, and I had never read a webtoon like it before. It also has audio in the comic. Another one of the ones I read has audio in it, but I thought it was a very nice touch. It also has this cool effect where if you scroll back up to the top of it and reread it after you've already finished it, that it will change the way characters looked. For example, the teacher she was talking to was revealed to not actually be her teacher and actually be the girl from the stairwell, so it showed him as the girl from the stairwell. I then decided to read episode 2 and 3, which is, I'd say, probably the most popular episode in this series, since it was the one that triggered the trend on TikTok a while ago. This episode is called The Ghost in the Fridge. A man moves into an apartment and it turns out to be haunted by, again, pretty self-explanatory, a ghost in the fridge. The TikTok trend was the one where, like I said, the comic, you scroll back up and it changes. He was brushing his teeth and then he took the toothbrush out of his mouth and it was a shaver. And if you go back up, you could see that it was a shaver all along, but people were doing that on TikTok and hopefully not actually getting hurt. Overall, even though I know the art style was meant to fit the whole 3D thing, I do not enjoy that a lot, but I think it was very cool how much effort the author put into it, so I gave it a 7 out of 10. For the storyline, I gave it a 7 out of 10. They do each have their own stories, but since the episodes are so short and compact, they have to not really be full enough, so I gave it a 7 out of 10. And for scariness, I really do enjoy how, this comic in the past has given me nightmares, but I don't think it would anymore since I'm, more used to it with all the media I've consumed. But with the audio and the moving of the comic, I gave it a 9 out of 10. Overall, the rating was 23 out of 30, and I'd say this is a very solid comic, and you should definitely check it out if you're a horror fan and you want to try a new form of media. Webcomic number 2, Nocturne. Nocturne is another comic I had read in the past, so that's why I decided to check out it again for this. Episode 1 was called Decay. It was a very short episode about a boy in his bathroom, and basically the quote-unquote tooth fairy comes out and takes his teeth. I guess it's not really a story, more just like a short, story. But I really enjoyed the art for this. It's very cool, and you can tell the author put a lot of effort into it. I chose episodes 86 through 88, which is season 2 of the series actually, and it is called Red Laundry. It's a little bit hard to understand, but the two girls are like, they don't want the other one to know that they know why their laundry is red, which is because of blood of these little creatures. Again, I think the art on this is really cool, just the story is not very concise. For this comic, I decided to give the art a 9 out of 10 because I think this art style is just like so cool, and it's like, it could be creepy on its own. Like, you could just show me an image from this and I'd be kind of freaked out. I gave the storytelling a 3 out of 10 because I just feel like it wasn't very long, even for a short comic. And the scariness level, in my opinion, the most important part, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because even though each episode was fairly short, I still got a little freaked out, especially when the lady in the first one popped up, the Tooth Fairy. She was very freaky. Webcomic number 3, The Red Book. I think this series had the shortest short stories I have ever read. It was very cool though how the author built it like an actual book instead of a webcomic. I was like, I was so confused when I first opened it, but it's very cool. I read episodes 1, 3, and 24. I was a little confused. They are all these ghost stories, but they're not really stories, they're just like ghost situations, and I was confused until I got to the end, and you can read about the author, and apparently the author wanted to just show experiences that they had with ghosts, and like just experiences the person reading could have if they ever see ghosts. Personally, I don't think I believe in ghosts, but it is awesome that this person can share their beliefs and their experiences through this comic. For the art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty decent, and again, I'd like to say that all of these authors putting amazing work into their art, and that this is just my opinion. For the story, I gave it a 2 out of 10, which I don't think it can be fairly rated with the other ones, since it is just experiences basically. And then same as last one, I gave the scariness a 2 out of 10. Didn't really scare me. There wasn't like enough story to give it a freaky factor, but you know, it makes sense because it's totally different than the other ones and I didn't realize it until after. But again, I think this was very cool, and overall I gave it an 11 out of 30. This one I am so excited to talk about. This is the 4th comic. It is called Scroll If You Dare. This one reminded me a lot of the first comic. It had that cool aspect where the comic would change as you were reading it. And it also included audio. Episode 1 was the Busan Karaoke Ghost. This one, I didn't expect the comic to move, so I may have jumped a little bit when the girl slammed her hands against the door. The audio is also very loud, so when you're reading it, I would suggest you turn down your volume on your headphones. Episode 19 was Sleepwalking. It is about a girl who I am pretty sure was possessed by the other girl's dead sister and then gets all freaky while she's sleepwalking. The art in this was immaculate, and it was really showing the fear of the other character when she was acting all haunted. If you couldn't tell, this one was my favorite. I gave the art a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this style, and it really was like, best word I can think of is potent. Like, you could smell the creatures just through the art style. I gave the story a 9 out of 10. It really seems like one of those Japanese myth stories you would read about. just put into comic form, and I thought that was really cool, and the stories were really concise and kept me engaged. I gave the scariness an 8 out of 10. The second one was a little less scary than the first one, although it still had the freaky factor with like the movement and the audio, just not as much as the first one. Overall, I gave this comic a 26 out of 30. Webcomic number 5, and the final webcomic is called There Are No Demons. Now, I thought this one was going to be really freaky, just based on the art style, and maybe it is in different episodes, but I read episodes 1 through 5, which is the story Stalker. It's about a girl who stalks this technician in her apartment, and then the guy's girlfriend also is being stalked at the same time, and it's like there's 2 stalkers in the story. The female stalker basically is like living in this guy's apartment, and he's finding clues throughout it that she is living, and I think they maybe spelled that out for us a little too much, saying as they point out everything she has done or left as proof that she was there, and explaining it again at the end of the comic. I don't know what to say about this comic. I personally just didn't really enjoy it or find it scary. I found it a little more silly, to be honest, and I'm not trying to diss on anyone, but it seemed very spelled out, and I think it would have been much more enjoyable if they just kind of subtly showed the evidence left behind that she was living in his apartment. I gave the art style a 4 out of 10. I think it was a really cool art style, and I loved how realistic it was, because that is usually used really well in horror stories, but I just don't think the author took advantage of their art style at the most in this, and a lot of the times the characters looked a little more silly than scary. For the story, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I think in the beginning, I really was impressed by the story and excited for it, but by the end, it just kind of seemed like it all came together as a mess. And for the scariness, I have to give this a 1 out of 10. I was never scared, necessarily. I don't know, it just, even the deaths in it didn't really have an impact on me. Overall, I gave this an 11 out of 30. My conclusion is that, yes, really, any form of media can be scary depending on the person, and if the author is just talented enough to convey that. And once again, I would like to say that all of these authors have put in amazing work, and I'm sure there are people out there that find this scary, and I really appreciate all of these, and I think the artists are amazing, and their storytelling styles are so unique, and I would just like to wish them the best on their journeys of creating. Thank you so much for watching. I am hoping to get an Amora video out next time. I'm not sure if I will be able to. I've been really busy, and even getting these out has been hard. But again, thank you so much for watching. Bye. Have a good night, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is for you. Bye bye.